Hey guys, just wanted to take a few moments to talk about a couple things before we dive into today's episode and the series as a whole. When I first started this podcast series with the class of 2010 from Western Alamance, I never imagined it had the potential to become something meaningful. While recording and wrapping up the conversations, we did lose two members of our Western Alamance class, Jonathan Sorsigan and Jenny Strickland. I did have the pleasure of having Jenny on the podcast before her passing, and I'm grateful her story has the potential to live on in this space. Her episode will be released at a more appropriate time at a later date. This project is more than looking back. It's about recognizing how fleeting time can be, appreciating the people who've shaped our lives, and not taking a single moment for granted. So I implore you, if there's someone you've been meaning to call, catch up with, don't wait. Reach out, say the thing. You never know when it might be your last chance. So this one's for Jenny, Jonathan, and everyone else. Thanks. Welcome to the Cooler Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Smiley. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you're not so new, welcome back. As always, Cooler Conversations is the audio culmination of cool people, coolest stories, cooler conversations. Today is a continuation of the WAHS Class of 2010 reunion series. I had the funny idea of reaching out to a bunch of our senior superlatives. Don't ask me why, but sometimes 15 years changes a lot of people. Today's guest, I'd like to welcome a very close friend of mine. He was voted most photogenic. That's Mr. Heath Talley. What's up, Heath?
Same stuff, different day, man. Just not sure how the most photogenic got in there, but I'll take it.
So it's ironic that you're most photogenic, and yet you and your wife probably take the most photos out of any human couple imaginable. Yeah. Don't you guys have somebody on retainer?
We actually do, yeah. Angela Norton out of Graham, and I don't know what session it is, but the last one, I'm pretty sure out of two kids was maybe like 140 or something like that. So,
that's good photography, though. That's what you're paying for.
Hey, there it is. You know, it's just at some point, you know, she'll give a discount every now and again, not every single time.
Do you know why you were voted? Were you in a lot of pictures or something? Because I was going through the yearbook and I was like, he was in lacrosse, and there was a couple odd job photos.
I did my best to stay out of photos. So when somebody came up and they were like, "Yeah, you got most photogenic," and I was just like, honestly, I didn't even vote for anything in the first place, so not sure how that kind of happened. I think everybody just kind of saw it as like, you know, he's not around too much. Let's just pop his name out there.
I think so. I remember the voting. I tried to finagle my way into Best Smile because last name says it all. Yep. But when you have like a snaggletooth going through high school, I don't know how much the voting is going to go for you.
The brace face, man. I mean, yeah, it's.
I got braces when I was 21. I was complete vampire
I didn't pay attention to you a whole lot in high school. I'm sorry.
Brother. Funny enough, there's a photo of me, you, and Victor Newcomb just not doing nothing in the computer apps room.
That was the entire class. Yeah. Well, that was the entire class. That and what else did we play in there? Bubble Pop.
Who knows? I think we played like Mario Kart most of the time. It's amazing how what they let you do when you're about to leave.
Yeah, so stop caring.
Just kind of jump into it. When I told you, hey, do you want to be on a reunion podcast? What is your gut? What is your gut reaction?
Honestly, I wasn't really going to go to the actual reunion if we had one.
Mhm.
So I thought you were going to do like this whole big group kind of thing,
Like
have
a
like
Zoom
100 of us.
call.
Yeah, like I have 100 of us on there or whatever.
Holy
Nobody really gets to talk. It's just like back and forth conversations. But I mean, it is what it is, man. I like the one-on-ones. If it would have been group style stuff, yeah, I'm either busy or working, man.
That would have immediately turned into clicks. Like I mean, I would go immediately to the people I'm talking to, and then it would just be, yeah, that'd be a little crazy. I can't imagine shoving 300 people into a Zoom call, and then
I mean,
what
now
would
that
you
I've
talk
said it, you
about?
kind of have to do it. Just
Right.
saying.
What's funny, I don't you remember I tried to like let's do a reunion at like Red Oak out of like a whim. I think that was like for 10 years, and
Yep.
a couple people were like, I would rather not. And I was like, okay, all right, Kai, don't show up.
Well, I logged on, I think it was to Facebook the first time in like 2 years the other day, and I saw you had commented on, good gracious, you had made some kind of group for the reunion, and you
Yep.
commented on it, and you were just like, hey, is this still a thing? Like nobody responded back to it.
2011, I made a senior week Facebook group with the idea that like if it actually happened, it would be the funniest thing. It could, the idea is obviously senior week, you go
Yeah.
when you're out of high school, but my idea was we go when we're actually qualified as seniors, senior
Yep.
citizens. So we go when we're like 80, and I invited everybody, and I still get people, I still get a notification in my email because I don't check Facebook until like a notification stockpiles and it just tries to get you in. And I
Yeah.
still get notifications like I can't make it. And I'm like, that's sad. I'm sorry, you're dying. You plan on dying that day.
I had no
Someone
idea.
actually someone actually told me that they were busy that weekend, like early on. I was like,
You just
I
don't
don't
like
think
me.
you checked.
Fine.
When you hear 15 years since you graduated, does that ring any bells for you? Can you comprehend that? I mean, it's probably different. You have two, almost three children, but like,
Yeah.
you're a completely different human being since then.
Yeah, I mean more facial hair.
Okay.
That's generally the thing there. I mean, I don't know, man. Like high school was fun and all. It's just once you kind of get out, um, I don't know, adulthood just really hits you like a freaking transfer truck. And especially once you have kids, everything else just kind of goes by the wayside. It's the whole rhythm of getting up, getting them ready. Half the time they're sick, so you have to call out or go in, whatever the case is. Um, I haven't really thought about how long it's truly been until like we have conversations like this.
Okay.
Like
Sorry.
when we go out and smoke cigars by the fire or something like that, I'm just like, God bless. I am almost 34 years old, and it really depresses you, really.
Do so then going off of that, have you ever felt like an adult?
Whew, not not how I act all the time. Um, there are times like when we're out in public and I have to like discipline my son because my daughter's not really old enough to know better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm like, oh man, I'm a dad. I'm an adult. I'm doing this thing. And then like once we get home, we go back to like running cars off the table in the middle of the room. It's just like I don't really feel like adult esque until I have to do something like that because I'm just like, well, who's gonna discipline this kid? I'm like, oh crap, it's my responsibility. Let me do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, this obviously 18 through about 25 was like, oh, I'm growing up, I'm growing up. And I think around, well, actually, I would say till about 28. I think mentally I paused at 28, maybe even 30. I can't comprehend the last 3 years. That could be
Yep.
COVID. Um, but everything seems like a blur.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I just stopped really counting after a certain year. Like you said, man, for you it was 28. I don't ever since I got into the whole law enforcement thing, it's just been work, 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 oh, look, another birthday, work, work, work. So not really able to really comprehend and like sit down and just take a breath, because it's, once Lauren and I got married, I immediately started into that whole realm. And then before we really got a chance to get up and rolling, we had Henry and then Harper. And now, good Lord, we've got Holly on the way. Whew, it's just a whole thing. But again, man, just being able to finally sit down and have those one-on-ones like we're doing, it it really kind of puts everything into perspective, especially in the adulthood aspect.
Yeah. Spot you go. You mentioned law enforcement. When you were like graduating, let's say you're walking across the stage. Kayla McCloskey just gave her speech about Forrest Gump and whatnot, and we throw the hats. Did you see yourself being an officer? Did you see yourself, potentially starting Dream Drones LLC, like any of this, like you envisioned?
Not at all, to be honest with you. I wasn't really one of those kids that grew up being like, man, I want to go to the moon or be a firefighter or something like that. It was just kind of whatever I could do to support and kind of, not live, no offense to anybody, but a single wide, and, it's just, I was wanting to be more. And then law enforcement kind of came into play in Greensboro. And fortunately, I was just a lot better at it than I thought it was going to be. And, it blossomed into a promotional process down here in Gibsonville. So with the whole Dream Drones thing, had zero idea about drones, had zero idea about, photography and all that kind of stuff. And then our chief kind of came down and said, hey, listen, we're starting a drone program. I need some interested people to go and take the class and take the pilot's exam. And after everything that really happened within law enforcement in the past, let's see, we're in 25 now. So past 2-3 years, there were, not to get dark here or anything like that, but there were 2 Greensboro officers that were shot and killed, multiple and around the state. I know one out in Wake County. And once you have children, it's not like, let me go out here and run and gun and, have zero care in the world. It's kind of changes aspects to, all right, now I've got the drones. Let me plan an exit strategy. And Gibsonville, if you're watching this, not that I'm leaving, okay? Let's just go ahead and put that out there. It's more just let me have something on the back burner in case things really go south.
Yeah. I think it's wise in general, like in this, economy and, everyone's doing it. It's nice to have other projects.
Yeah.
Just to keep yourself sane too. Like
yeah.
even if this was like, you weren't in law enforcement, you were another like 40-hour a week job, a lot of people have other things just to keep themselves sane.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a crazy rat race.
Well, and that's why I tell a lot of our rookies coming in, because they want to have like the blue line stickers. They want to just do this and that all with law enforcement. I'm like, you gotta have something else. I'm telling you, like you will burn yourself out in a heartbeat if you only do law enforcement stuff. The moment that you find something else, whether it's the gym or some other LLC that you just kind of create. Half of the people I work with mow yards on their off days, just sitting on a mower and just smelling the grass is something that keeps them humble, keeps them, in love with life. And then they go back to work and, no issues. But it's if you don't have that other outside resource, people tend to really just change who they truly are. And they're not, just not themselves. And it's a very strange thing. And before I kind of got into the computer style stuff and then drones, honestly, I saw myself going down that route and I was like, all right, we gotta change some things up because this is a dangerous path.
Yeah. I do think it's comical that you were voted the most photogenic and now you have a photography business.
Hey, if people just want to pay for that, what's up? But
you should put that on your business cards. Voted photogenic 2010.
I would get a lot of people asking me how old I truly am. It's a great thing. Like, high school superlatives, like it's all fun and everything, but it's like getting an award at work. You're like,
Yeah.
if it doesn't involve more money, why am I getting this?
Yeah.
You
We
know?
should get superlatives in real life. Like, imagine you could vote for your neighbor, like biggest
Oh,
bum on the road, most likely
I
not to
would
put
be
their
perfectly
trash
fine
up.
with that. You know, drives like a grandma down the road in a 45 zone, or like you said, leaves their trash by the road for 2 weeks. It's just I'd be perfectly fine with that. But I think that would be more of like a HOA kind of thing.
HOA. That's what you want HOA superlatives.
Yeah, why not? You're paying for it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Heath Talley, HOA superlative 2000, 2025.
that's it. That's
Um,
it.
so let's go. Let's take it back to high school. I know you don't like to think about it.
Long
What's
time ago.
one thing that you're nostalgic about? What's one thing? So like let's play this game. So like let's say we take you back in time. What are you listening to? What's the movie you're watching? What was your
Oh,
jam back then?
oh man. I'll be honest. It's and this is kind of where like you can tell I haven't really grown up. Uh, it's a lot of the same stuff today that it was back then. So
Okay.
obviously being in lacrosse and all that kind of stuff back then, I mean, as well as I do, like in the locker room, it was always like Breaking Benjamin, things like that. And shocker, when I go to the gym, it's Breaking Benjamin and the like. It's just more I
So
don't
your
know.
Spotify is like 2010.
Oh, 100%. It for me, it's just like new age music hasn't really done anything for me. The old stuff is just kind of it's still great music. It's just where it's at. The new stuff I feel like is just I don't know. Um, it's not the beats or like the uh not the verbiage, but the words and all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
that are in there. It's just a really different aspect for me. Movie wise, I mean, a little bit of the same stuff, man.
you're, you're an old head now.
Well, you got to think, man. It's so
I haven't watched a movie since 2011.
honestly, where's the time?
That's
Um,
true.
but with kids now, I get to kind of teach them and like show them the movies that I used to watch. So the original Lion King, Aladdin, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
We've gotten into oh man, and this wasn't out in 2010, but like Zootopia and good gracious, my niece likes Moana. I mean,
Okay.
everything
It's a
under the
banger.
sun. Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at it. But then we get into like Cars 1, 2, and 3, and if I think there's like a fourth one now, and being Henry loves cars and crashing things, so of course when he watches that, it's cars and crashing things. And
Hmm.
it's like for me, I just get to sit there. I'm like, oh, finally, like we get to watch Cars again. This is great. But my wife is like, all right, we gotta change some things up here because it's just like two children always watching TV together.
That's hilarious. Do you because obviously you were a big star athlete back in
Okay,
high
okay,
school.
easy with that one. Easy, big guy.
You were Miss Lacrosse, bro. You had the free flowing hair. You got that
The sweet
lettuce.
lettuce.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you
that
think
was.
your kids are going to be sports kids?
um, I think with some hard work, I could push him into that realm. Henry, he tried out soccer 2 years ago or last year. Um, didn't really show much interest. He tried it again this year, a little bit more. We have him in t-ball right now, and I mean
Nice.
he's had one practice, so he's not Ichiro or anything like that, but um, it's just trying to get him to try different things, and if he just picks up on something, let's run with it. Now my heart would say, hey bud, here's a lacrosse stick, let's have some fun. But I mean, when I was a kid, I played soccer, basketball, baseball. I think the only sport I'd never played was football. Unless it was some rec thing, on the side. But I think, if we just keep him, Harper, when she's old enough, and then obviously Holly, after she's born.
Playing down.
Hey, Lauren, get out on the field. After we get them like really into every sport that we possibly can, see what they love and thrive in, and then start them out with that. But I mean, I'm not gonna be one of those dads that's like, this is all you're gonna do. You're not good at anything else aside from basketball. We're going D1 for sure. Because hell, man, I played all those sports, but still love a good video game. Still love to hang out and do other things. So I think if we keep kind of that aspect and keep it light, they're gonna push more towards those sports than if I'm continuously hard on them.
Yeah. For you, because didn't you try to like stick with lacrosse for a couple years when they're like a adult league, or did you continue with that a little bit?
It was more or less to stay busy and in shape. Okay. So there was the Triad Blackhawks over in Greensboro. Ended up, I guess, a little bit too rough. I ended up getting kicked off because my ego at the time, fights and whatever, and the dude that I got in a fight with happened to be our coach's best friend. So it's a whole political game. It is what it is. But more or less just to stay busy, stay in shape. Didn't really, didn't have kids at the time. And then I played when I went to UNCG for a year. And again, just to stay busy after class. Didn't want to come home and just sit there and do nothing.
Yeah. I guess where I'm going with this is you're seeing a lot of, because we're 33, so we're hitting that age where a lot of people are starting to pick up old hobbies that they used to do. I mean, I'm swimming again. I know a lot of people are picking up running, drawing, like all these things that they did when they were like superlatives in high school, or what they were good at in middle school, because it's a lot better than just doom scrolling on the phones. Yes. So is there anything that you used to do that you've picked up now, or is there something of interest that you're trying to sway towards, or is just life too nuts right now?
Honestly, man, a lot of the times when I'm at home and I have time for hobbies, and I know that she's going to watch it, but you gotta take care of all your stuff outside. And Lauren will tell you, she hounded me yesterday. So the yard's mowed today, but as for
the audience, Heath is hiding in the car from his wife.
I am. She's threatened to sabotage. So we're in here with the doors locked. So if I need to make a quick getaway, I can. But as for hobbies and all that stuff, like when I was younger, we used to shoot basketball outside the house. We had like a little goal that we propped up. So for Christmas, I actually got Henry a basketball goal, and to kind of sway him to do that and also do more stuff outside hobby wise. Hell, we'll come outside and shoot basketball for a couple hours, and I say I'll shoot, he'll play with his cars, and every once in a while he's like, pass me the ball, and he misses a few shots, and then he goes back to his cars. But as for stuff I used to do, like playing lacrosse, I can't tell you the last time I picked up a lacrosse stick. I mean, it's nothing against the game or anything. It's again, just kind of boils down to how much time you have. Cause every time we get home from work, it's around 6:30. Then we have dinner, we play a little bit of basketball, and it's bath time and straight to bed. So time is very small.
I completely get it. Like I said, the reason that I bring it up is like I'm under this, part of the genesis of this, the interview is, and a lot of generations can make this argument, but like we specifically have a very unique point in history where we were children. The internet existed, but it was basically a magazine. Like it was like 4 words, you would go on there to be like a, one document kind of thing, or paint. And then that was just a computer. But we literally grew up without that. And then right around middle school is when a lot of people got their cell phones. So we were instantly connected. AIM became a huge thing. in middle school, high school. And then I think Facebook existed when we were in high school. We had MySpace. Everyone was friends with Tom, all that. But ever since then, it's been a skyrocket of exponential growth in the technology space and, social connection, for better or for worse. So, like, have you ever processed that? Is this something that you think about? Like, back in high school, and I've made this, people are going to hear this a lot on the podcast because it's the biggest funny thing. Is like, we were told you're not going to need calculators when we're an adult, because we're going to need we're not going to need a calculator because we need to do it ourselves, and then we have it on our phone. Now we have artificial intelligence. Like, we are at the greatest sci-fi exponential here.
Yeah. Well, and it's a good and bad thing in my mind, because obviously, like, the more we get into the social media point of it, and just always into our phones, always into the technology, the less we're having conversations actually face to face. So if you talk with people today, they rarely look you in the eyes. They can't remember your name, what you look like 10 minutes after you actually talked with them. So I think we're getting away from very good, generally it's business methods like that, but also on the flip side of it, in terms of the same technology, help. When I do investigations, it's very easy to find somebody. It's very easy to find the information that, they're wanting to hide from me, that, they could tell me their name is John Smith, but I'm like, all right, it's, Tyreek Wilson or something like that. Like, I can find every single thing I need to find about you because of that technology. And people don't realize it, but they've posted so much stuff on these social sites. Whatever your handle is, if it's like a nickname or something like that, let's just say Instagram still knows you as that Tyreek Wilson and not John Smith. So when you type it in, or we do, any kind of warners, anything like that, like, immediately within a couple hours, I know everything that you've ever done since you've had social media. Which also, on the other side of that, is kind of scary, because I'm using it for good to solve things, other people not so much. But again, man, if you aren't, like, I told you, I kind of got off of social media and had to get back on just to promote the business and everything like that, because it's really tough to promote if you don't have that outreach. But of course, I don't know, I could live without everything like that. It's just not a huge deal for me. I could live like we did back in high school when everybody had like the little Razor cell phones, which were probably more the one of the most like durable cell phones we've had. But it's not really a thing I sit down and think about very often. Again, until we have conversations like this.
I feel like I'm always bringing you some like exponential crisis.
you typically bring either like really deep thoughts or like oh shit moments that you like have to sit down and you're like, damn, this is going to take some time to think about. Let me just give me a minute, okay?
It's just to me it's crazy to just comprehend. Like, this is what's sad, and it could just be my memory, but like I can't even like remember the feeling of like not having this constantly on me. It's so strange, because like I think it's been in my pocket, whether varying degrees of different phones, but like it's been in my pocket since senior year of high school. Like it's crazy. And then meanwhile, like we all have this probably idea of like when we were in middle school, it was like we just ride the bikes and just disappear for a couple hours. Parents had no idea where the hell we were
when the street lights turn on.
Yeah. And that was a different time, but now like we're linked up all the time, and it's it's great because it's like where everybody is, but at the same time it's like I feel tethered.
And I kind of get that a lot, man. It's so I have two phones, one's work, one's personal, and being in the promotional portion of my department, you have to have these phones on you even when you're off. Because your squad may have done something that, screwed up something paperwork wise. And so they call you on your day off. do all this kind of stuff, but it's like that phantom. You always hear like the ringtone, or you feel the vibration in your pocket,
Yeah.
and more than half the time it may not be in your pocket. And I'm just like, I cannot stand being this like reliant on that kind of technology. Honestly, I half the time I just want to leave the house, leave every single thing in there. Not for like Big Brother tracking or anything like that, but just for your own like sanity. You know, they've more or less poisoned everybody to be like, this is your lifeline. You cannot do anything in your entire life without this thing by your side.
It does feel like way. And then
Yeah.
there's a term, and I'm losing it, but the general idea of the thesis is like, we now have to, in order to maintain status quo in society, you have a higher threshold to hit. Like our parents didn't have to pay for internet. Our parents didn't have as high of a power bill. You didn't have phone bill. You didn't have, and there's obviously there's things that we've left behind that they had to pay for, but like you have a higher and higher like goalpost to hit in order to status quo. I mean, just the fact that in order for us to make it in like a small business, you now have to not only pay for the local promoter, but then you got to pay for Facebook ads, you got to pay for Instagram ads, you got like 9 different social media apps you got to keep track of. It's nuts.
It is
absolutely nuts.
It is, man. And I was looking because like I created the Google business profile, Yelp, obviously Instagram, and each one said if I want to boost anything, I think Google business said that they would give $500, but I had to spend $500 in ads first. Yelp said $300. I'm like, y'all are out of your mind.
Yeah.
Like, I get they say, oh, you'll get 10 to 12 additional leads and all this kind of stuff, but they're leads. They're not concrete. Like, that's leads don't pay the bills, you know?
Yep.
It's just that, I don't know. It's that kind of thing, but it all boils down to everybody kind of taking advantage of, and I say everybody, like the companies, kind of taking advantage of that because they're like, sweet, everybody's going to be on this site. Now we can thrive and kind of switch it around from the free platform to, hey, if you actually want to run your business, this is what you're going to have to pay for. It's just annoying.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we're getting like this close to being like the crotchety old men. We're like 3 minutes away from just like, this system.
Hey, off camera, talk to me, man. I'm already there.
Going in another direction. You've been, obviously you're in Gibsonville, working. Dream Drones is all over Alamance County. Have you had a major, like, have you thought about like the exponential growth of just the area compared to 15 years ago?
Yeah, that's kind of the going issue that we have right now is, Gibsonville itself, in terms of the law enforcement, not even the business aspect, it's growing to the point where we're not going to be able to cover all these new neighborhoods, all these new houses and everything like that. I think just alone on 61 North at the Edinburgh neighborhood, when it's finished, it's going to be like 1,200 homes.
That's insane.
Yeah. And if you look, I think the average household is 2.5 people. And then we have, I don't know how many other freaking neighborhoods that are going up, apartment complexes and everything. We have 25 officers. We may have
that's nuts.
3 or 4 a shift. If nobody's in training or out sick, I mean, hell, with my kids getting sick, once they get the flu, you can go ahead and bet that next week I'm going to be out too with the flu. Like there's just no covering it. So it's not a huge deal for like these larger departments. So like Burlington, they can cover all their stuff because they have so many programs and, people on the back end that do all this kind of stuff. But if we have a, domestic come out and then somebody's breaking in on the other side of town, you can go ahead and bet that's Gibsonville right there. We're having to call a county over and everything like that. On the business side of it, it's wonderful. let's bring more people, let's bring more houses, let's start taking pictures together. Like it's a wonderful thing. If I can promote and give another business card out, and the person that's buying the house may not need it right now, but when they sell, let's rock and roll. You at least know that I'm local. My name is there, and that's another 2,000-3,000 people that may know, hey, Dream Drones is local in Elon. They serve North Carolina, but if you need something quick, edited in a professional manner, this is the guy that you need to go to. Yeah. So it's a hit or miss, but obviously one aspect it's really, really great, and then with the police realm, it just really, really sucks.
Yeah. It's on your professional, on your two, it's like the duality of professional. You have one really good like business opportunity, and the other one just sucks as far as execution.
It really does.
I think about like when I moved here, because I moved here in 2007. Yeah, it was something around 2007, 2008, and this was like a small little country town-esque. Like it wasn't small, but I mean it was like small metropolitan. Compared to Greensboro, and it's exploded. And I mean, you're looking at, I saw a metric. You're looking at, some metrics are saying like upwards of like 30 to 40% increases over the next like 4 years in population here. And we're talking, I mean, we've seen malls pop up, new businesses. Like here's how I judge where we're at. We now have a Fleet Feet in Burlington, North Carolina, where typically you would see those in higher income areas. Yes. It's nuts. Have you, as someone who's grown up here, lived here their entire life, if you told yourself 15 years ago that like a lot of people want moved away, but like this is becoming the spot, would you have believed it?
No, not in the slightest, man. I think the biggest thing that we've had come over here, aside from Target and BJ's, was the fact that Fleet Feet came over. But it's kind of funny because like you said, that's generally a more wealthy kind of spot anytime they choose to open up a store. So I kind of equate it to like they did great because maybe they see what some of us don't. Burlington and the Elon Gibsonville area are growing to a new level. Maybe there's higher plans down the road for a wealthier, style area. But for me, I still see it as there's a Sir Pizza right across from Fleet Feet. And we're still the same old Burlington. Nothing's really going to change.
we put on a facade and attract good businesses and trap them.
That's really all it is. I mean, with Culver's right there too. It's just like, now don't get me wrong, Culver's is pretty decent for a burger, but
oh my God, you're the fifth person to tell me that. I tried it and I was like,
it
wasn't bad, but like people were raving about it. And I was like,
I mean, I'm not going online and being like, this is the best ever. I mean, I'm still to the point where I can swing by Cookout real quick if I just need like a quick, meal, but it's not something where I'm going every single day being like, I have got to have a Culver's burger or else I am going to die. It is not that serious.
Closest I felt to that kind of feeling was when Crazy Fire was still around.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah. That's
I'm still down for a GoFundMe for that. We can just own it as a community.
Dude, the circle grill that they had in the back, and you're just seeing all your food getting chopped up. How we didn't get sick more by just like shoveling the meat on our plate.
Raw chicken, raw steak, raw shrimp, onions.
All together in a like Golden Corral buffet style thing. It's just disgusting now.
Egg.
Yes. Sitting there for hours on end.
It's nuts. I'll leave. So I'm going to leave it with one more question. Is there something that you thought in high school that, like, as far as like a philosophy, way of thinking, life, that you no longer think, or have you doubled down on it?
Not.
If that's too deep of a question, I can go.
No. I mean, it's just one of those that like I've always been maybe not like outright about it, but very patriotic. I mean, we fly the American flag. I'm really against those that like step on it and everything. Like my family was in the military. I don't know. Back then, I was like really serious about it, and then as time kind of progressed, especially within law enforcement, I'm seeing both sides of everything. So I'm getting all the riots and all that kind of stuff, and then the marches. But I'm also working with people who have served and who are very, very serious about what they do and what they have done. So if anything, I think I've doubled down on it, and kind of put that back with my family as well. Because even though I didn't serve, I want my kids to grow up knowing, hey, this is a very serious thing. When the anthem comes on, you stand for it, you put your hand over your heart, and rock and roll from there. Because I don't agree when people take a seat and do all this kind of stuff, and I'm probably getting really, really controversial right now, but it's also like you do your own thing. I wasn't raised that way, so I'm not going to raise my family that way. But again, just one of those things. I've kind of doubled down on the respect portion of it, because again, I've never done it. I was never deployed, and I'm very grateful for those who have. So just something that I definitely couldn't do.
Yep. Well, this has been a fantastic conversation, Heath. I wanted to give you opportunity. Where can everybody check out Dream Drones?
So we are on Dream Drones at I think the handle is Dream Drones LLC, all one word. Obviously, we're on Yelp. We are on Google. Just everything across the board. I run everything out of Elon. We don't have a set location because I don't want people coming to my house. But we also serve all of North Carolina.
Drones to your house.
Hey, I mean, I'll see them.
Combat drone.
Slam it right into it, man. But again, we serve everybody in North Carolina. So I've kind of worked the pricing out to it. If I have to go out to say Western North Carolina, it's going to be beneficial for them, but also price wise beneficial for me in the business. So we're not doing things for free all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, perfect, guys. I'll include all that in the links below. Heath, thank you again for being on.
Appreciate you having me on, man.
Thank you. Guys, it has been a wonderful podcast. Again, I'm your host, Tyler Smiley. Again, this is Cooler Conversations, the culmination of cool stories, the coolest people, the cool stories. I got to get this outro right at some point. Links to everything Heath talked about is going to be in the bio description, and then there's going to be some description stuff with everything else. Guys, thank you all for listening. We'll catch you later.